So, thank you very, very much for clearing out such a large chunk of time in your diaries to come and participate in the first, but very hopefully not the last, Wonderlab, brought to you by Hide&Seek in partnership with Lyft. So this is going to be one kind of space that you guys are going to be in over the next 3 days, and what I want to talk about is what kind of space that is and what it might be. And in order to do that, I need to talk about the weekender that has just happened and what kind of space that is. So the Hide&Seek Weekender, it was our fourth. It's a weekend-long program of social games and playful experiences on the South Bank. We have always worked in partnership with cultural spaces and cultural organisations, and this year we were working with the National Theatre and as part of Lyft, and that's an important part of what this space is, and which I'll return to in a tick. But in terms of actually how it functioned, if you imagine arriving at the rather forbidding exterior of the National Theatre, seeing some small signs that say Hide&Seek Level 2 and going up in the lift, the first thing you're going to be confronted with is an absolute shitload of bunting. Bunting is central to the Hide&Seek aesthetic. We make an awful lot of it, and we had, I think, about 1 kilometre of bunting draping the Olivier foyer of the National Theatre. We made special box office cozies out of some very attractive material picked up from Dalston Market in an attempt to take the greyness out of this space and hopefully confront you with a visual sense that this was a playful environment. When you arrive, hopefully a friendly person will greet you and start asking you questions. Are you here with a family? Do you feel like playing something right now? Would you like to sit down and have a cup of tea? And there are various options that you can take up at that moment. You can go to the info desk and have a look at the program and the scheduled games, in which case you can pick up stickers for different games that you like. You can head over to some of the ambient games which are taking place persistently. These reward a slightly more personal, less performative kind of play. So it's installations or little kind of interventions that you can make on your own. Perhaps kind of an on-ramp into some of the more ambitious, playful experiences. Or you can go to our pick up and play desk, where you and your friends or your new friends can pick up and play a great selection of different games to kind of fill the time between some of the other activities that you've got. It all feels kind of chaotic, but hopefully it feels supported. Some of the things that you could have done while you were there, and this is a very personal list of highlights. You could have conducted a walk around a hutong, which is not in fact the original hutong, which was obviously in China, but is now a rectangle applied to a map departing from the South Bank. Simultaneously, a team in Delhi was walking around their own hutong, and whilst you were doing so, you were sharing particular things. Information, things that you'd seen, specifically the number of uniforms, dogs and babies that you were spotting on each side of this hutong, and using those to stimulate creative acts and acts of collection along each side of the hutong. So you were trying to essentially take a walk, a particular kind of a walk with a group of people in Delhi simultaneously. You could have played Gentrification, the game, in which you have to, well, it's a bit late for London really, because there's really nowhere in which you can play Gentrification, the game, that hasn't already been played. But yeah, that's true. It was situated on the Cut, and yeah, the game kind of sells itself. It was a rather lovely game in which you had to acquire different kinds of status for your area, including a pear store, which was one of the sort of ultimate signs of gentrification of a particular location. You could have played Super Political Street Fighter, which attempted to bring new meaning to political discourse by connecting political speeches with a reward of a time advantage to start beating up your opponent in a game of Street Fighter before they could. And that genuinely, I saw as much political engagement in Street Fighter. David Cameron has been on the phone, expect to see it as part of the big society very soon. You could have puzzled over the curious vocal stylings of the Zemblan ambassador. Zembla was a country that held the key to a particularly tricky UN negotiation, except that all of the translators of the little-known language of Zemblan were either sick or nobbled, so a group of English language speakers had to try and pass his pronouncements and figure it out. You could have played a game called Segway, in which performers, a musician and a dancer, were the vehicle of a team of players, all of whom had a short musical phrase. And by figuring out what dancing movement this musical phrase triggered, you had to manipulate your dancer across a part of terrain on the South Bank and get them to passport control, which was the end point of the game, at which point all three of these separate teams and separate dances combined in a rather beautiful dance.